Hello everyone, and welcome to my art history presentation. Today we are exploring Chapter 8 from Gardner's Art Through the Ages, Late Antiquity. To begin today's conversation, let's clearly define exactly what is meant by antiquity. From our study of Chapter 5, Ancient Greece, we are already familiar with the periods shown in this slide. And from our study of Chapter 7, the Roman Empire, we are already familiar with the periods shown here. We also know that although Athens and other Greek cities were now part of the Roman Empire, Greek artists continued to be in great demand, both to furnish the Romans with an endless stream of copies of classical and Hellenistic masterpieces, and to create new statues in Greek style for Roman patrons. Thus, these two timelines together comprise the Greco-Roman world. Antiquity basically refers to that Greco-Roman world, which played a major role in shaping the culture of the Mediterranean basin. It is the period during which ancient Greece and Rome flourished and had major influence throughout much of Europe, North Africa, and West Asia. At this point, I want to point out something that confused me a great deal when I first started studying art history, and that is the difference between classical with a capital C and classical with a lowercase c. When you see the term classical with an uppercase c, then you should know that it refers specifically to the ancient Greek period between 480 and 323 BCE, and you should think of specific Greek sculptures like the Discobolos or the artist and sculptor Polykleitos. When you see the term classical with a lowercase c, then you know the term refers to anything from the Greco-Roman world, or as we have demonstrated in the previous slide, antiquity. In my opinion, art historians are playing a cruel trick on students with this one. It is confusing enough to make the distinction when reading, and impossible to understand the distinction in spoken language without contextual cues. So pay attention to this change. In 312 CE, Constantine defeated and killed Maxentius and took control of the city of Rome. At this time, both Jews and Christians remained small in number because they suffered persecution by the Roman authorities, who followed polytheistic Greco-Roman beliefs and practices. This persecution ended in 313 when Constantine, the first Roman emperor to embrace Christianity, issued the Edict of Milan. From this point on, the ancient cults declined rapidly. Constantine founded a new Rome in the east and called it Constantinople. For many scholars, the transfer of the seat of power from Rome to Constantinople and the recognition of Christianity mark the end of antiquity and the beginning of the Middle Ages. This chapter treats antique Jewish and Christian artworks created both before and after Constantine through the 6th century. It is important to note that the Judeo-Christian artworks are no less Roman than the artworks of the previous chapter. Indeed, some of them may even have been made by the same artist. But although they are Roman in style and technique, the Jewish and Christian sculptures, paintings, and buildings of late antiquity differ significantly in subject and often in function from contemporaneous Roman art and architecture. They are pivotal works and constitute the bridge between ancient and medieval art and architecture. Take, for example, these two images. Both are located in a distant outpost of the Roman Empire on the Euphrates River in Syria, called Europos by Greeks and Dura by the Romans. On the left, you see a synagogue or a Jewish house of worship. On the right, you see a Christian meeting house. These modest shrines stand in stark contrast to the grand temples of the Roman gods. Without the approval of the state, both Jews and Christians remained small in number during the first 3 centuries CE. Before Constantine, Christians conducted some ceremonies in the catacombs, but regular services took place in private houses, like the ones at Dura Europa. When Constantine conferred official recognition on Christianity, Christians could finally begin to openly construct buildings in which to celebrate worship. Constantine constructed elaborate churches, memorials, and mausolea, not only in Rome, but also in other Italian cities like Ostia and Naples. He erected churches elsewhere in the empire, such as those in North Africa, Syria, and, of course, Constantinople. And he erected in Palestine churches in Bethlehem, which was considered the birthplace of Jesus, and Jerusalem, the site of Jesus' crucifixion and entombment. Early churches were modeled after Roman basilicas. An example is the Basilica Oppia, which is a part of the Forum of Trajan complex in Rome, Italy. A basilica is a public building for legal and other civic proceedings. It had a latitudinal plan, meaning that the main entrances were located along the side of the building. The greatest of Constantine's churches in Rome was Old St. Peter's, constructed over the site of St. Peter's tomb in what is today the Vatican City. Like most Roman basilicas, the Old St. Peter's had a wide central nave with aisles on either side and an apse at the end. And, as in the Roman basilicas, the new churches had clerestory windows above the nave arcade to provide light. But, unlike Roman basilicas, which had multiple entrances along their sides, like we saw in the last slide, Christian churches had a main entrance on one short side. This layout is called a longitudinal plan. The entrance is called the narthex, and after passing through the narthex, worshippers enter into the nave, where they had an unobstructed view of the altar and the officiating priest in the apse, framed by the chancel arch. An important addition to the Christian design was the transept. The transept housed St. Peter's relics, which attracted hordes of pilgrims. Relics are body parts, clothing, or objects associated with a saint or with Christ himself. While rare in early versions of Christian churches, transepts became a standard element of the church in the West much later, when it also took on, together with the nave and the apse, the symbolism of the Christian cross. Old St. Peter's was rebuilt during the 15th century. By then, it was obvious that the late antique timber roof church were insufficient for the needs and aspirations of the Renaissance papacy. Michelangelo, who was an accomplished architect as well as a sculptor and painter, was commissioned by the Vatican to work on the new church design. Worshippers can still make the pilgrimage to Old St. Peter's today. the decades after Constantine founded Constantinople, the pace of Christianization of the Roman Empire quickened. In 380, the Emperor Theodosius I issued an edict establishing Christianity as the state religion, followed by a ban against worship of the old Roman gods. A new aesthetic gradually took hold. Mosaics became a major vehicle for the depiction of Christian themes in churches and mausoleums, such as this image of Christ as the Good Shepherd. It is a mosaic from the entrance wall of the mausoleum of Galla Placidia in Ravenna, Italy. Classical naturalism yielded to a desire to depict the spiritual world. Flattened figures replaced the classical norm of muscled, natural bodies. In conclusion, late antiquity is a time of transformation and transition between the ancient and medieval worlds. The seat of the Roman Empire moves to Constantinople in the east, and in the west, post-Roman kingdoms begin to form. It is a period when there is a shift away from polytheism towards monotheism. It is a period marked by the spread of Christianity, the institutionalization of Judaism, and the emergence of Islam.